Hey guys, happy holidays. So 2014's been a great year, but it's drawing near an end. But we've had some great geek movies this year, anime. We've had Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America Winter Soldier, Interstellar. But we're about to talk about 4 movies from 2014 that were really awesome, but that you might have missed.
Yeah. Now, they might not be geeky, but they are super cool.
Definitely. All right, well, let's start off with number 1. We've talked about this movie before. This is a great movie. It's the first English language film from an awesome Korean director who directed the movie The Host. And if you don't know what I'm talking about already, it is Snowpiercer.
Yes. Movie stars Chris Evans, who we all know is completely awesome, and Captain America.
Yes.
And it's about this train that goes around the world because the world is covered in ice because scientists did something they thought would be good to get rid of global warming, and it did not work out so well.
Exactly. It's a great post-apocalyptic film. It's based on a French graphic novel, and basically everyone left in humanity is in this little train. But of course, there's a caste system, there's class warfare. All the rich people are all up in the front, and all the poor people are all in the back. And basically, Chris Evans is leading this revolt from the back of the train to the front of the train.
Yeah, and they're a worker class, and randomly some of their children will just be taken away.
Now, I think one of the cool things about this movie for me is it kind of reminds me of a video game.
Yes.
It reminds me a lot of BioShock. You know, as they go further and further in the train, every compartment's like a weird thing. Like, they have an aquarium, or they have like this really creepy school.
Each car of the train is like a new stage of the video game, you know? And you have to fight new villains. Some are crazy and wearing like masks and are butchers and have lots and lots of weapons. And some are crazy school teachers with guns.
Exactly. It is totally awesome, and it's got some really great things. If you guys haven't seen it yet, we recommend Snowpiercer. It didn't come out wide like it should have. The Weinstein Company wanted some changes. The director would not budge, and so they really made it limited, but you should see it. It's amazing. You can check it out on iTunes and also on Netflix.
Yeah.
Snowpiercer.
Next up is a documentary. I'm talking about Jodorowsky's Dune. Now, for those of you who don't know, Dune is a great, great novel from the prolific author Frank Herbert.
Yes, it is my favorite book of all time, anime, and I was super excited to see this movie. Alejandro Jodorowsky, he's a Chilean director. He directed movies like The Holy Mountain and El Topo, and this was the story of him trying to make Frank Herbert's Dune into a movie in the early 70s.
Now, for those of you who aren't aware, there have been other attempts to adapt Dune. There was a movie, there was a TV miniseries, none of which got it quite right.
But it doesn't matter because this movie is amazing. Basically, they talked to Alejandro Jodorowsky, they talked to his producer, they talked to a bunch of other filmmakers and people that are aware of the situation, and basically, it is this crazy story of him trying to make this movie and all kinds of different weird people that he tries to get in the movie, like Salvador Dali, Orson Welles, Mick Jagger.
And not just the people that he tried to get in it, but the people that he had working on it behind the scenes, like Moebius and H.R. Giger.
Yeah.
And the fact is that a lot of the animation and stuff that was done for Jodorowsky's Dune, because that didn't happen, ended up being stuff that was the inspiration for other things like Alien or like Star Wars.
It's pretty much the most important movie that was never made. It's really amazing. It's a funny documentary. If you love Dune, it's a must-see. If you're a filmmaker or want to be a filmmaker, it's also a must-see because it's really about where passion starts but can ultimately destroy you. So guys, it's really worth it. You can check out Jodorowsky's Dune on iTunes, Amazon Instant, Google Play, and all those other things. I really, really recommend it.
Me too.
Alright, anime, next up, we're going to talk about Trip to Italy. It's a sequel to the 2010 movie The Trip that has Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon driving around, going to different restaurants, and basically riffing and doing all kinds of crazy impressions. It's super funny.
Do you, Michael Caine? Did you see him in The Dark Knight Rises? And his voice gets even more emotional than it's ever done in the past before. I don't want to bury you, Batman. I will not put you into the ground in a little box. I will not do it, Master Bruce. I will not do it.
I'm not going to bury another Batman.
Another Batman? How many Batmans has he been burying? How many are there? I've buried 14 Batmen
I've buried
so far,
14 Batmen.
and a little pointy ears
I'm
in a
not
box.
going to bury another nylon cloak.
Now, if you're in the UK, you might have actually seen it as the TV series,
Yes.
which is, you know, The Trip and The Trip to Italy as 2 seasons, essentially, of one TV series.
Yes. But if you live in America like we do, you got the movie. Now, you guys should see the first movie, The Trip. It's on Netflix. It's super funny.
Yeah.
Basically, it's these two comedians. They're having dinner, and they're just sort of riffing off one another. But there's also, like, a little contention here and there.
Yeah, and it's all framed by eating. Now, the first one, they were going to these places that had these little tasting menus, and so they got to riff off of that a little bit and have some interesting stuff about that. In The Trip to Italy, it's these giant Italian dishes. In both movies, they spend some time, you know, in the kitchen, so you see the food, which makes it a really, really unique kind of experience watching
Yes.
it, because you're watching this thing that's like a food show in a way,
Yeah.
but you're also watching this thing that's based on these comedians. And the great thing is that the movies are not scripted.
Yes.
You know, they kind of have these ideas of things that they're supposed to talk about, some topics and stuff like that, but the stuff that they say, they just riff off of each other.
Yeah, both guys are really funny. They're both really good at impressions. You'll get a lot of Michael Caine impressions. They'll talk about Batman.
Yeah.
They go on and on. It's really worth it. It's really funny, really great. We definitely recommend, if you haven't seen The Trip, to watch The Trip and then Trip to Italy. Even if you had, it's actually really fun watching The Trip and then followed by Trip to Italy. And one more thing. When you're done with this movie, we recommend you already have your red wine and your Italian food ready to go, because you will be craving it, because the food porto in that movie is amazing.
Yeah, you might not have the same beautiful scenery, but you are going to want some sort of Italian food afterwards.
Definitely. You guys can and should check out Trip to Italy on iTunes.
Now, our final recommendation isn't a small indie movie like the ones that we were talking about before.
No.
This one is a bigger movie that really didn't get the attention or the viewership that it should have. It's Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah, now this movie was supposed to be big, but I think sadly it's just Tom Cruise's career right now. A lot of people just don't like him as much anymore, which is too bad, because this is the best movie he's been in for a very long time.
Yeah.
Frankly, as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie is awesome.
And a role that he played in a way that we've never really seen him play.
Yeah. Now, this movie's directed by Doug Liman, of course, the guy who made Bourne Identity, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and it's pretty much what you saw in the previews. It is Groundhog Day with a war of aliens.
For those of you who don't know, it is based on a light novel from Japan. They also have a manga of it that came later.
Yes.
But they adapted the story. They reinterpreted the story and made it into, well, still a great story to make Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah. Now, All You Need Is Kill is worth reading. It's very good. There are some differences significantly in the third act that really make it its own thing. Or you can just watch our Geek World Book Club where we talk about the two. But either way, both are really good. I think the thing I love most about Edge of Tomorrow, other than the editing, which is amazing, and the fact that there's some really great comedy in with all this really amazing action and a lot of really practical action.
Yes.
But also it's Tom Cruise. This is the thing. Tom Cruise is a big movie star. Whether or not he's the best actor in the world is up for debate. But this movie felt like the most brave thing he's ever done.
I agree.
I mean, he basically plays this coward who is forced onto the battlefield, dies over and over again. This is probably the first time they haven't had him standing on apple boxes every time he's doing something, because he looks small, he looks weak, he looks pathetic. I mean, you have never seen Tom Cruise like this, at least not in the last 2 decades.
And the funny thing is that you will probably never like him more than you'll like him watching this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's really great. Not just that, Emily Blunt is amazing.
Yes.
She plays this badass heroine character named Rita Vertosky.
Full metal bitch.
Exactly, and she's pretty amazing. But the movie's just great. It's a good time. It's a great sci-fi movie, and it's just fun.
It really is, and it's definitely worth seeing. You know, whatever you feel about Tom Cruise, however you felt about seeing the previews of the movie, it's worth seeing, and it's awesome.
Definitely. All right, guys. Well, those are the movies from 2014 we don't think got enough attention, but we want to know in the comments down below from you, what movie did you like this year that not enough people saw? Hey, who knows? Maybe we'll check them out ourselves. Either way, thanks so much for watching. If you want to listen to our radio show, we're on every week on Indie 100 and The Point.
And if you want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email to geekworldradio@yahoo.com, and be sure to check out our website, geekworldradio.com. Plus, check out this YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for new videos.
Definitely. Anime Hey,
What?
we need to redo this video again. Time to restart. Murder-suicide for the holidays. That was inappropriate. Goodbye.
Geek World Radio.